Hola, ¿cómo está?
Buenos días.
Bienvenidos.
Sí, señor.
Yeah, I feel I'm on my Sábado Gigante shit today. You heard?
Are you? Is that shit?
I don't know why.
I feel
You
like
all
that
right,
shit.
bro? You saw a ghost?
No, does that look like it's slanted?
It does. It's,
All right.
but I think it might be your camera though. Yeah, pull that.
No,
Yeah,
no, 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 no. It's.
I
I'm
think
gonna
it's
leave
you,
it.
bro.
I'll leave it.
It's good. Yo,
Oh,
it's just the two of us today.
just the two of us.
It's a good song. It's a
Yeah.
very good song.
Um. Yeah, man. It's a very special week.
This is when all the poop emojis should just show up on the screen right now.
So
So you want to tell us a little story?
yeah. So I got my
I like.
colonoscopy,
Wait. I like you collecting your thoughts face.
bro. Listen, man.
Your resting poop face.
This is the thing. There needs to be more awareness around this stuff because it's difficult for a regular dude to want to do this, man. Like, not to say that it's not. Look, it's probably difficult for anybody doing this because there was actually a lot of women when I went.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah. Of course.
but
Sorry, I might have interrupted when I was talking. So you were talking about a colonoscopy, just so it's clear, people know what we're
yeah,
talking
I
about.
call it a colonoscopy, a colonoscopy.
Okay.
Yes. So this is how my week went.
Yeah.
Well, previously, at the age that I'm at, you're supposed to get it, and apparently they keep dropping it down.
Yeah.
And colon cancer is Black and Latino men are at the higher risk of that, of getting
Okay.
colon cancer. And if
Yep.
someone in your family had colon cancer, which my grandfather passed of colon cancer, you're at a higher risk as well.
And
So
they recommend that you go earlier than the average to go get checked, right? I think that's
no,
how.
not
No.
necessarily, not necessarily, but they keep lowering the age, I guess, because they're trying to. It's preventative to. They're saying that colon cancer is, I think, the most preventative or preventive. I don't know if I'm using the right words. A cancer that
That
that can
is
be
out there.
prevented. You know
Got
what
it.
I'm saying? Like, so so anyways, go to my doctor. They're like, yeah, you're kind of due, you're overdue at this point because they've been dropping the age. I think the age now is 45. It used to be
50.
uh was it 50?
I think it was. Yeah, I was looking at that recently.
I
45
think
is
they
like
might
the
have
new
dropped it even
average.
lower than 45 now.
I read something like if you're predisposed to cancer or something in your
Well,
genes or whatever, it's even lower. But on average, it's 45 now.
all right, well, I'm 48. So they were like, yo, you're overdue, you gotta go. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not cool, but okay.
Right.
I go to the gastro. It took me a while. I wasn't
Hesitant.
in a rush to do it.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Hold on, real quick, just to take us through that moment. So the doctor tells you, "Yo, you way overdue right now. You got to go figure this out." What was your immediate response? Was you like, "Yeah," or you were kind of like, "You sure, doc?"
No, I try to be responsible about my health, especially if a doctor's telling me to do something, and if it's like a natural or regular like checkup thing that whatever. It's like if it's regular for people to do it at a certain age, like I'm
Right.
cool with that,
Right.
And I knew because I had friends that are older friends too that they've done it and stuff, and I had friends that done it, so I knew I was due for it. So finally set up the appointment. It just seemed like you have to go to a gastrologist, right? Is that a gastrologist?
Maybe I haven't been through
Whatever,
it, but yeah,
bro. Astronomer, whatever.
you got to go check
Um,
out Galileo right quick.
yeah. So to book that appointment, was a mission, and it probably wasn't a mission, but it was a mission for me. So the more mission, I don't really need to do it.
Yeah.
Finally, I go and then that's just the appointment from to talk to you and set the appointment for the actual procedure. Then it turned out the date of the procedure was I forgot what reason, but I couldn't do it. I had to reschedule. Oh, what it was is I was sick. I had COVID and a cold, and they said, since they put you under, they're like, nah, don't come through.
No risk. Yeah.
So reschedule, and then this is what happened. This is the mix up. So I reschedule. My original appointment was on a Thursday. They tell me the third, and in my mind, for some reason, when I looked at the calendar, the third was a Thursday.
Mm.
I'm dyslexic also, so I don't know if this is just me, screwing up the numbers and the days and all that. So in my mind, the whole time it was like, all right, it's on Thursday. So I kind of take 3 days off, kind of like as a buffer between it. I'm thinking,
You got 3
uh,
mental days in a
well, you're
row.
supposed to fast and all this stuff. So I ended up having drink champs on Monday, which I was like, ugh, it's kind of weird drinking and doing all that a couple days before. But okay, then I had Tuesday that in my mind was like, oh, okay, cool. That's I'll start fasting and cleaning out the system. Wednesday, you have to take a solution to clean out your system. It's
A flush.
yeah, a laxative,
Oh yeah.
a laxative flush. So, and then I was like, all right, well, I definitely can't do nothing on that day. And then Thursday, boom, I'll knock it out. And so turns out when I'm looking at the days, like, so Tuesday happened, we did drink champs, Tuesday happened. Then Wednesday, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, all right, I got Wednesday as a buffer. Like I'm gonna take this stuff tomorrow. I even almost ate on like Tuesdays happened. I'm like, my wife is like, no, I think you could eat, you just gotta eat light,
Hmm.
And so I was almost about to eat something, and I look at the paperwork because now I'm like, it's in my head. I'm like, I'm looking at the paperwork. I want to make sure I'm doing everything right. And I see the third, and then I start looking at I'm like, wait, I think it's tomorrow, dude. And my appointment was at 6 in the morning. So it's like more than tomorrow. It's like,
Like right
like
now.
it's like tonight type.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like, oh my God, this is tomorrow. So I called to make sure, and they're like, yeah, it's tomorrow. And it was early enough where they were like, because you could still take the solution and clean out your system. Luckily, I hadn't eaten anything. I'm not a day eater that much. Like I don't really usually eat during the day, especially during the weekdays. So I hadn't eaten anything. It was strictly liquids. So like, yeah, you should be good. I'm like, oh my God. Yo, dude, if I felt like a deer in headlights when I found out it was like the next morning.
Yeah. You must have been stressed.
I was like, oh, because before I was like, chilling tomorrow. I'm gonna just drink the thing. I'm gonna take the day off, relax. Nah, bro. So then yeah, take the stuff. The stuff was disgusting, man. And it's bearable. Like I don't want to scare you because I think the important thing of talking about it and actually drink champs got booked on the same on Wednesday, the day
Yeah.
I was doing the colonic. So it was with TK Kirkland.
Mm.
And I heard Nori made a big thing of it in the intro, like, yo, this guy's getting a colonic today. Like,
Oh shit.
so, people, my boys were telling me like clowning, and I was like, look, honestly, cool, have a field day with it, but I think we need the awareness out there. And
100%.
I don't think it should necessarily be a joke because the truth is, Black and Latinos are the most at risk, and also the most that are like, like look at it like this is like something like taboo to do.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Um,
a
a lot of hesitation to doing it because
hesitation.
you feel like it deals with your manhood or whatever. And trust me,
Right.
look, I get it, dude. Like I even spoke to you and I told you, damn, I feel like after this I can never say, I never
Right.
got something back there. But but yeah, so whatever, man. So I'm okay with us talking about it here. I'm okay with it being blown up on Drink Champs. I heard TK was like, yo, applaud that dude. Men need to do that. But then talked about a procedure of that's for that avoids getting anything in there,
Oh, really?
which I'm like, nobody told me about that one.
Where were you a month ago?
Yeah. So so
So
whatever. Go ahead, go ahead. You have questions?
so yeah, I have so many questions. I have not. So colonic is
You have
also a
not
term.
partaked.
I have not partaken in that yet. So colonic
Oh,
colonoscopy.
colonoscopy, not a
You,
colonic.
you said colonic earlier, so I'm trying to
Did
understand.
I say colonic?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, colonoscopy.
Okay, so colonoscopy. So
Colonic
talk
is
about.
just a flush out of your
Oh,
anal
got it.
cord.
Okay. So when you, as you're approaching this, you're not even there yet, right? So now you got like this truncated window of time. You thought you have more time, right? So now that's adding pressure to you. You're having conversation with your family, I imagine. Like, take us through that. Like, what did you talk to your kids about, if at all? And obviously, you talked to your wife. Like, what were some of the concerns that you had going into it?
I didn't have concern. I didn't really have concerns, but I guess anything involving anesthesia.
Yeah, because they put you under the whole like,
Wait,
what's
am
that
I
called?
saying
Not
that right?
not local. Yeah, anesthesia. It's
Yo,
not local. It's a
my
full.
vocabulary in my mind right now are all mixed up, dude.
Yo, that colonoscopy did a number on you, kid.
Yeah, they put
It was
you
a full.
under. They put
Yeah.
you under, but it's not like originally I thought it was the full under where they have to like assist your breathing, but
Right.
apparently it's just like a deep sleep
Okay.
where you breathe on your own
They
type
made
of
you count
anesthesia.
backwards and shit.
No,
Oh, you
but that
just
was the
knocked out.
dopest part, and everybody says that's the dopest part, like being put to sleep, because it's like, yo, it's ill, man. Like that part of it is just
It
you're
felt
out of
like
here.
mad restful. Like it was like
Yeah, like
a
I had dreams, and then like boom, it's done. So.
yeah.
But I tell my wife was worried because everybody gets a little concerned with that.
Yeah.
That's where things happen. And my mom is like, oh, tell them, this and make sure you tell them that. And if you have any congestion, or you have this, or if you have that, so whatever. I tell them everything. And so, yeah, there was a little concern. I tell the kids jokingly, daddy's going to get a butt operation,
Oh,
which me and my wife were clowning because we're like, imagine if the kids go to their friends or their teacher, my dad's getting a butt operation. In today's day and age, what that means to
oh
people.
man. Oh man.
Dad's about to get a what
You
is
get
it, a
a
BBL?
butt implant.
But I'm trying to make jokes, light of it with the kids, and they're laughing. I'm a big poop fart, you know,
Yeah.
funny guy when it comes to the kids. Like I love talking and joking about all that stuff. And so they were having a blast. They're like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Dad's gonna have a butt operation." Oh my god! And they're like, "Ah!" So I tell them, "Oh, tomorrow's the day," and they're like, "Dad, oh my god, you're gonna get a butt operation!" Ah! And
That was clowning you, but
yeah.
your daughter took it to the next level,
Well,
right?
this is after the fact. So
Oh,
that's the thing. So then I get I gotta be there at 6 in the morning. So I Uber there on my own because my wife has to take the kids to
yeah.
school, both of them at this point. And so there's no way she could take me. So I Uber there, bro. I get like 2-3 hours of sleep because I'm also had that stuff flushing out of my system. You have to take it in the
Oh,
evening, and you have to take it at midnight again because you need to be fully clean for the thing.
and then you got to be there at 6 a.m.
my appointment was at 6 a.m. But you get there and it's like paperwork and waiting around. The doctor didn't show for a while. And the crazy, well, I don't know how deep I want to get into this part, but and the location was dicey, man. It was like some Miami Cuban, super Cuban spot. And I was like, oh man.
Hialeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is the type of spot that shows up on the news, like, some craziness. But shout out to them. Everybody was super professional, but just my first impression of the place was a little wacky. Everybody speaking Spanish. No, no diss to that, but it just felt a little, felt a little crazy. So it was
Did you
mostly, huh?
did you get like called out? Like, oh, that's EFN. Did you get a fan?
Nah, I do
Okay.
feel this one lady might have recognized me, or just like kind of thought she might have recognized me, but it was she looked like she was like feeling like me, like it's early, too early for her. You don't want to deal with this. She looked disheveled, like I
Yeah.
was disheveled, and it was all women though. It was the crazy part. It was no dudes were in there when I was there.
Yep.
It was like 5 or 6 women in there. I guess we're the first round of appointments. Everybody's just getting into the office and stuff, so just getting started. And then whatever, you go through the process, you prep, you put on the stupid gown, um, kept my shoes on.
Because you a
I
G.
don't know. I don't know why that meant a lot to me. I'm like, yo, I don't want to take off my shoes. I'm like, no, you
Because
don't
you
have
a
to take them.
real G. You was like, yo, I'm in this spot, but I'm not gonna be a pata sucia.
No, in case I gotta do some kung fu and run out that spot, I got my shoes on, And then my doctor came, which she's funny. She got jokes. And they prepped me. They put the IV, and all I could think about was like, oh man, what if something does go wrong? Because
Oh,
when you're being put under, it's kind of crazy, man.
yeah, it is.
And so I'm just
Induced
laying there
sleep.
in the bed waiting for the doctor to show because she was late. Um, and one of the dudes that was like in the room was being funny, like, don't worry, if you don't cry, I'll do it for you. I'm,
Oh,
I'm making him sound Russian. He actually spoke in Spanish to me and said that. He basically was like, yeah, don't worry, if you don't show up, we'll
I
do it for
got
you. I
you.
got you. And I was like, nah, bro, I'll do it.
I'll take care of you,
I
bro.
said I'd
Wink,
rather do
wink.
it. I said I'd rather do it myself, though. And
So,
whatever they were, huh?
so what is it? Did you get to see what they actually put in you?
Yeah, it's like a. It's almost, think of it. I think the best way to describe it is your phone charger wire.
Okay.
It's something like that thick, and it has a microscopic camera at the end. Now, the part that I didn't see or don't know how they do it is because they actually, what's cool about today, them doing the colonoscopies is as they find something, they can actually cut it out, like extract it.
Oh, and do the
The,
biopsy.
the polyps.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. They'll deal with it right then and there. So I don't know what in that wire, what they have, but and then they take the pictures. They had a big TV screen. I didn't get to see, but I'm sure that's what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And but right as soon as you're done, they give you papers with all the pictures of
Oh, wow.
your
Right on the spot. You see
yeah,
everything.
of your colon. So pretty wild. But whatever, bro. They put me under. They were like, all right, you're gonna feel something, a little tingle. That tingle came, and then it was like, wake up, you're done.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts, bro. It's nuts. And then my wife was still dealing with the kids and stuff. And so I was like, man, I'm just gonna Uber home.
Yeah.
And so
And you
I
didn't
ended up.
like, you didn't feel, and I'm trying to be serious because, like, again, to your point, like, I think this is so important for people like us, but I think in general, like you said, like men, women, it really doesn't matter. Like, this is an important thing. And I don't want to make light of it. But there's so many little things that you can pick out of this and have a joke, right? But it
Right.
takes away from the seriousness. And when you went back home in the Uber, did you feel like anything hurt? Did you feel anything like
Nah.
uncomfortable? Everything was kind of back to normal.
Yeah,
I
everything.
mean, you were probably a little drowsy still, though.
I was drowsy. But real quick, one thing that's important to mention is that they found some polyps
Oh shit.
and they pulled them out. They took them out and they were like they sent it to get checked to see if they're cancerous.
So do they clear out all of the polyps in that moment, or they just pick a few to like test?
No, no, they take whatever they see
Oh, okay.
and they take it out. And
Ah,
but overall the doctor was like, nah, everything was looking good.
okay.
Everything was looking clean and but we'll check to see if these are, maybe they're precancerous, I think they were saying.
Right. Yeah. So I read that, and just because you have polyps doesn't mean you got to freak out. Like,
No.
that's fairly common from what I understand. It's just you, out of a
And they said they
precaution,
were
you go
small
test it.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, but that's good. That's what you want. You want them to actually whatever they find, pull it out and take it out and hopefully you don't have any problems. But
And like you said earlier, if you, God forbid, do, it's the best, case scenario. If you have to have cancer, like, that's the one that you probably want to pick because there's better ways to treat it and kind of get rid of it.
and you're catching it early,
Right.
which
Right.
I'm imagining like someone like my grandfather probably never went
Yeah.
until they probably too late to get a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Or imagine what the science, how they did it back then, Like they
Wow.
probably maybe they didn't even do colonoscopies back then. I don't know.
Nah, I bet you they did it,
I mean, I'm sure they did, but
but
it's
it was
probably
rare.
it's that camera might not have been a
Nah.
thing. So how the hell would they have seen? Yeah, they probably didn't.
It was probably like a prostate exam because that's still relatively old school, I think,
Yeah,
with the
your
fingers and
favorites.
stuff.
I know your
Actually, I
favorite.
did have one. We could talk about that later, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
So
got finger
so you
pops.
get
Let's be
home. So
honest.
you got home. Coño.
so, so the kids, I had told them the day before, you're not gonna see daddy in the morning for school. And they get back and they're like, Daddy, how did it go? And then I showed them the pictures and they were
Oh
like,
wow.
oh, and that's why. And what I showed you, so my daughter did a drawing. It was hilarious. She draws like a butt, and in the middle she draws like a hole, and she's drawing like kind of like what she saw in the pictures in terms of the hole.
Yep.
And then she asked me to spell out butt operation.
Okay.
So she writes butt out, and then she puts Eric's. I'm like, why
Yeah.
don't you put dad at least, And then she put like this. Well, I think you thought, or somebody said someone's sweating,
Oh, I might have been K.
or no,
Yeah.
maybe somebody else I sent it to. She put like a face that looks like it's crying or sweating, but
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
she said it's someone laughing
Yo, we have
with
to show.
arrows pointing at them.
We have to show this. We have to show this drawing.
Oh man, she was
Yo,
hilarious. I was proud of
yo.
her drawing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a dope. Like, considering because she's what, 4,
Five. She's
5.
five.
And for her to be able to illustrate this, I mean, the pictures that she was looking at probably gave her a lot to work with, but still, like,
Well, not the ass. She's just all like holes. The picture she does look like a BBL.
yeah. Oh, so y'all had a good laugh
We
after
had a
that,
laugh.
and
This is yo, man.
you
This
haven't
is
felt
this.
any residual effects after, like after the anesthesia wore off and all that. Nothing.
Nah.
Like Lo Mojone, just like,
No,
whoo.
you know what's funny? This is probably TMI, but as soon as like they wake me up, I'm like, oh, and they're like, yeah, it's done. I go, I feel like taking a shit. I
Oh,
don't know if I said shit, but I was like, I feel like I gotta go back. And they're like, no, no, don't worry. We had to put air in there, so it's probably just it's gas. So you just they're
farted
like, don't
out.
worry. They were like, just let it go. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm not letting this go here because it felt like a shit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Damn.
yeah, dude, it's I don't know, man. It's funny because there's some people that this is like whatever. They don't care. Like
Yeah.
go handle. I have friends who never even I don't know if they were being like shy about it or like hiding it. But I had friends that turned out they did it like 5 years ago and never said a word to anybody.
Do you blame them, bro? Imagine telling you. You would be clowning them for hours.
Yeah, like who's
Back then?
I think my boy Socrates, Socrates. I think he's done it like 2 times already. And I'm like, damn, you a repetitive offender, bro.
You a vet.
You good if you get locked up.
What an ass.
Literally.
so,
Oh,
so I had a yo, I just had a brain fart from hell right now. I had a prostate exam, but it was, I mean, I was in my 20s. It's like 20 something. And it was out of precaution because I went to a doctor and I was like, yo, I'm peeing blood, bro. I don't understand. And whatever. I had a UTI, and this was one of the precautions before he, gave me the UTI,
he gave you the UTI?
the diagnosis of a UTI. He had to check because he was like, yo, maybe, I mean, it's weird to be this young and have a prostate issue, but he was like, I gotta check. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't understand what he was checking, like how he was checking. So my man, yo, the stereo, I felt like I was in like a Bart Simpson episode or something. It's like the glove, the latex glove, snap. And I'm like, nah, is that what I think I just heard? And then he gives me the instructions, like, put your pants down, you're gonna feel this, like you gotta lean over here. And I'm like, no, bro. I was like, are you sure we gotta do this? And sure, he was the consummate gentleman, bro. He just went up in there, did his thing quick, and came back out. And I was like, oh my God, bro. Like the sense of like violation. Nothing hurt or anything, but it was just like,
You were just
yo,
upset that you liked it.
no. I was just like shocked. I was in complete shock. And then so I was embarrassed first, and
Right.
then I was in shock, and then
And then the real doctor walked into the office and goes, what's going on here?
Imagine, bro. And long story short, the diagnosis was correct. He gave me some whatever pills, and it was done. But then that prompted me to do some research first to find out, like, yo, is this normal procedure?
Right.
Like, is this something that should have happened? And yeah, it was. But then my awareness kind of got better at that age. Like I was like, shit, at some point I got to do this shit regularly. And I didn't really talk with them. I think it was probably the first time I've ever really talked about it with other dudes.
You're
But
talking about it with our audience.
with everybody, you're welcome, gang. Now don't use it against me. Um, but to the same point, like this is really not much to be embarrassed about. Like this is you got to think about it like it could be life or death. Like that's how serious this stuff is. And the more we clown about it, the more we make it harder for people to like make this an easier process, the more lives are going to be at risk. And it's not the move, especially when the audience we're talking about, because you're a dad, if you're listening to this, probably, or maybe even a mom, like you got other people you got to consider in this equation. So do the right thing for yourself that ultimately benefit your family.
You know what's funny is that, and I won't mention who it was, but I was talking to a friend of mine today, I believe, and he's a Rastafarian.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I kept thinking about Rastafarians. I'm like, they would probably never do this because they're so
Mm,
hardcore in their beliefs.
yeah,
And and so I asked him, I said, listen, I know you're Rasta, and are you gonna do it when the time comes for you to do it? And he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm not. I think that's the downfall of a lot of Rastafarians is that they really don't believe in modern science and medicine to a point where it hurts them.
yeah,
So he's like, no, yeah, and he's like even his father, because he's Jamaican, hasn't done it, and he's like, I'm gonna try to push him towards doing it because of just like I don't know if his father's Rastafarian or not, but he's like just saying that Jamaican culture and Rasta
yeah,
stuff, like, and they just so it's funny because culturally, whether you're hardcore like a Rastafarian or just in general the macho culture that we all come from, it's just weird. It's just a
yeah,
weird thing
yeah.
to think about. Like it really was. Like I was just like I was ready to run out of that place.
Hmm.
Like actually, my wife was encouraging me to leave before
Oh
I did it
wow,
because I was describing the place to her, and I was
got
like,
it.
"This place is a little dicey," and
Yeah,
she's like, "Well, just leave." She's like, "Just go. I don't feel comfortable with you doing that there." But the way I
grab your
took
man.
it,
She was like, grab your manhood and get the hell out of there.
and it's easy to make an excuse to say, "You know what? I don't need to
Yeah,
do this, man. Like, what
yeah,
the hell, bro? Like, I'm out of here. I'll think about it in the near future
yeah.
and just avoid it." But I was like, I'm already here. I already drank the damn crap. I already missed one appointment to do this. Like, fuck it. I'm just gonna do
Make
it.
it happen.
I'm already here. Like, I'm just one of those people. Like, once let's just go through the motions.
Well,
So
congratulations, bro.
yeah, I
Because
think.
like you
Oh,
said, like it's easy for you to just bail. And yo,
yeah,
bro, like these are the things, bro. Like checking, getting your checkups annually and like those basics, like even going to the dentist twice a year, like those things are important
very
because
important.
those things snowball so fast and you don't and the complications also snowball. It might be like if you miss a couple dental appointments, it might be a tooth one day and then the next month or year or whatever, it's like something involving your brain or something because like all of that stuff is connected. So you got to take those precautions.
And bringing it back to why we do this podcast is that if you're a father, you have to be healthy to take care of your family.
Put your oxygen mask on first.
Like you got to, man. And that's really all I was thinking about was the kids and the family and just, making sure that I'm as healthy as I can be. Obviously there's a lot more improvement I could do in my life. Um but I try to do the things that, I'm supposed to do at least in terms of the checkups and the dentist like you mentioned and the blood work and understanding, where I am kind of like failing or not doing well. Like, I'm drinking on Drink Champs. I'm doing this and this. Okay, well, let's check this liver. Let's make sure,
Yeah.
we're good in that department. So, yeah, fathers, make sure you don't let your health slide. You don't skim off of these medical appointments and things like that you got to do. Don't keep holding off because it could be a point where you could have avoided something and prevented something and addressed it early on, and then later on it's costing you money and therefore money, economic, uh, strain on your family, and nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
Um, can we segue really quick to something?
Yeah.
So my daughter, man, she's been interesting these past few months.
Mm.
She's been acting up a little bit, right?
So she calmed down for a while because I mean that was the consistent theme for a long time. But
She was doing the regular like terrible twos, three-nager, that type of, acting out. But now it's more of the savvy, intelligent, conniving, stuff.
Okay, she's
Um,
being slick.
yeah, dude. And so one thing that I'm noticing, and I wanted to bring it up. I wish Kay was here because I want to know if any of your kids ever displayed this. Because so let's say, for example, we're recording. And for a couple weeks, I might tell you guys, man, my daughter's been great. She's been amazing, man. She's really, tapered off, and she's really, a good kid now. She's not acting the way she used to act. And like, by all means, I don't want to say my kid is bad. She's
Right,
not
right,
bad
right. Yeah, I
because
know.
people will be like, I'll say this, and people will meet my, oh, your kids are amazing.
Right.
But in our world, for what we notice,
The misbehaving.
yeah. So one trend I've started to notice is she is good before a holiday. Like leading, like as soon as a holiday is mentioned that it's coming up, there's something about her just getting in line and being extra sweet and extra thoughtful and behaving a lot better. And then the day after or the day of after whatever she like if she gets something out of that holiday gifts or whatever, it's like all bets are off. And I started like at first I was like, nah, this can't be what she's doing. But it's been a solid trend. And I'm like, yo, she's ill.
Yep.
This is so well thought out. Like she's like it's almost like she's holding back bad behavior. And she's like, no, I can't do it, can't do it. And as soon as the holiday, she gets like, for example, Easter just happened.
Mm-hmm.
She gets the Easter baskets or whatever else. Then it's all hell breaks loose after that. And you're like, yo, where's this coming from? Like, what you just got everything you wanted in the world. Like, what is it? What are you mad about right now? Yo, and it's like, and then the days after, it's like
chaos.
Like three-nager all over again. Like, what's going on here?
So
have you had that in your household?
So the pattern for you seems very calculated, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Conscious or subconscious? I don't know.
Okay. But there's some awareness about something, and it feels like she just falls in line for that period of time. And then as soon as she gets what she wants or is expecting, boom. So in pockets, but not that well calculated. Like my youngest, she's 8. She is probably the most conniving of the 3 of my kids. But she's the biggest hothead. Her temper, she can't control it. So, and she'll say the wildest shit to anybody when she's going through her emotional tantrum. So she, to a point, will map it out and try to align, but she can't hold a line to whatever that pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow, usually, because something will happen that'll trigger her emotional response, and then that will blow everything up. So no, I haven't had that experience. That's like some superpower.
I'll give you an example of how much I feel she controls her anger and her outbursts. So, I've said it here, her and her brother, they don't really get along all that well. They haven't, historically. I mean, they do, but whatever. They have a lot of issues. So what she was doing, like leading up to, let's say, Easter, she'll get mad and she'll be like, and I've told her, I said, you gotta talk to yourself. If you gotta walk away from the situation, but you can't have these outbursts. You can't hit your brother. You can't scream at him in his face. Like, you can't do that, So she'll go, and then just like, she knows she's about to do something crazy. So to control herself, she hugs him. She hugs him
till it passes.
Yeah, and then she lets go. And as soon as Easter passed, she's like in his face again, like, it's mine. And I'm like, yo, what happened? What happened to the hug, technique? And I knew already it was a technique for her to, make look good in front of us, like, because my wife's like, oh, look how she's trying. I'm like, I saw it because I can see her. I was like, nah, she's doing that on purpose. Like, inside, she's not letting go inside. She's just like, I can't do it right now. Can't do it right now.
If I could, I would slam your ass. Right now. Oh man, it's interesting because our kids do, and I'm speaking generally about kids, like they'll do stuff that on the surface appears to be like bad, right? Or not great. So as an example, like my son and my youngest daughter, they're debaters. And that shit gets annoying to the point where you're just like, yo, shut the fuck up. Like, I said this is what it is. Like, don't try to debate it. But when you dig a little deeper, you're like, yo, wait a minute. No, these are like helpful skills if you help kind of like set better boundaries around
Really
how to
hone it.
leverage them. Yeah, because like you don't want your kid to just take whatever somebody has to say if they feel strongly about it in a different way that makes
Right.
sense, right? So and it's been a long road, and we still don't do a great job, but I've learned to like engage where it makes sense and not treat it like back when I was growing up. If I open my mouth to debate
Te dan una
anything,
galleta.
chancletazo to the face, right, real fast. And maybe in some cases it was warranted, but in others it was just like, yo, I don't see it that way. I'm trying to explain my version of it. And but it gets heated because yo, you can't talk back to your parents in any way, even if it's just trying to have a conversation. So we try to encourage that, but in the same vein, like with this, like she's exercising a muscle that is it could be very helpful. And now some people might argue like, yo, burying shit is not good. And I think we've seen that prove out. But knowing when to restrain yourself from taking a particular action, I think that's really healthy if you know how to deal with whatever later on.
All right.
So it could be a positive here somewhere in there, but in the way she's using the tool,
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's amazing.
Like there's pros and cons to her personality that I'm like, I feel like she might be, she might be okay in like in just dealing with rough people.
Right.
But then again, she does have her sensitive side too. That's like she can't take anything. So I don't know, but she just could be so hardcore. Man, today I screamed on her, bro.
Yeah.
And I don't like screaming at the kids like that. And like a real scream, not my wife says you scream all the time. I go, no, there's Cuban talking that you classify as screaming. And then there's me being mad and screaming.
This is another level.
Right. So today, in the morning, because of the time change, when we wake up for school, it's still dark. But we don't want to. Specifically, I don't like putting on lights. I want them to adjust to the sun as it's coming up.
Yeah.
You're already gonna have the TV on, so that's gonna be a light. So we don't need to put on a bunch of lights. And my daughter she turned on like the main lights in the room, in the living room, and we're like, turn it off. And we turn it off. And then she goes back to it to turn it on. And my wife is like telling her, no, don't turn it on. And she's just there on it. And I look at her and I go, leave the light, come over here, sit down on the couch, don't turn on the light. And she's just looking at me with her hand on the switch. And I go, come over here, leave the light alone. Do not turn that light on. And she's looking dead at my eyes and bloop, turns on and then we have a leveler that you could skew it higher or lower the brightness. And she puts the brightness, the dimming. She puts it up. Yo, I screamed on her because the level of disrespect of her looking at me in my eyes while I'm telling her not to. And she's like, bloop. Oh, I went off, dude.
Yo, there's a lot of cases where I feel like without saying it, my kids will be like, fuck you, dad. With their actions. That's one of those in my book.
100%.
Bro, you don't know how many times we go through stuff like that with my youngest daughter. All the time. She tests us in so many ways. And it gets to a point, and she'll take me seriously more quickly than she will her mom. But she pushes, and now I get to a point where it becomes a game. So when I want the game to stop, I'm like, all right, no, go ahead, do your thing. iPad, a month in jail. And she, whoa, wait, I was just kidding. Don't go that crazy. And then that stops because that thing for her is like life or death. And so because I used to scream a bunch and I hate doing that. So I got to the point where I was just like, yo, I can't play this game because she's going to hate me forever. Like, right. I wouldn't want a fucking ogre screaming at me all the time. So I've tried to level that out, but man, does she test us.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a girl thing.
Maybe. I mean, I try to figure it out, and then, I start to think about like the dynamic with her and her brother. And the thing is that, and I've explained this here, she's one of those people that she wants affection, but she won't seek it out. And when you give it to her, she acts like she doesn't want it, but she obviously wants it.
Yeah.
And my son, he seeks it out and he wants it. And he's the youngest one. So it's like he's like still my baby. So it's like we're always like we're stuck to each other.
Yeah.
And I could tell that that bothers her because every once in a while she'll mention stuff like, oh, you know, you played with him. I want you to play with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, you're always. She'll say like you're always with him. But it's not that I do it on purpose. I try, but she doesn't want it. So it's
He
like
rejects.
I don't know the fix there. I really don't know the fix.
So my oldest showed a lot of that growing up. Like she would reject my passes of affection or whatever. And my wife told me something that I still do to this day, and I realize it works. And she said, like, I'll like drive by, hug her, or like give her kisses on the cheek. She's 17. I don't care. And even though she'll fight me a little bit, she doesn't like push me away. Like she'll accept it, but she's like, resisting. And I notice when I do those things, like it benefits our relationship. So even
Well,
though they may be rejecting it,
right.
I think it's still important to do it.
I do that.
Yeah,
I
you
do
should.
that. I do that now. No, I do. I go out of my way to let her know randomly,
Yeah.
Dad loves you. I'm gonna get a kiss from you. I'm gonna kiss you on your forehead. You know, when I'm with my son on the couch, for example, like he'll be like all on top of me. He wants to hug. He wants to be affectionate. What I do is I always try to like reach out to her and like hold her
Include
shoulder,
her. Yeah.
hold her leg, for her to know I'm here. And then I'll call her over. Oftentimes, like if I'm on the opposite side where I can't reach her, I'll be like, come be with us. Let's be together. And sometimes she'll come. The funny part is that so we have a dog. You know, I've talked about Nugget
Yeah.
before.
No nug.
And she wants to control this dog. She wants Nugget to just like be her stuffed animal.
Her pet. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Nugget's not with it, right? But Nugget, like I raised Nugget. So Nugget's my dog basically, where Nugget's always wants to be with me and will always be stationary with me, but Nugget doesn't really do that with the kids. She'll do it maybe with my wife, but she won't do it with the kids. You know, I think dogs sense kids are just like you unpredictable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so they
You're
kind
gonna
of stay
kill me.
away. But for some reason, he's been a little no, the sheep. Nuggets are sheep. Nuggets been a little bit more open to my son because I don't know why. But anyways, point is that when she sees Nugget like get on top of me or get around me and like get comfortable, all of a sudden my daughter's like running to me like, "Oh, daddy." And I'm like, "Man,
Yeah.
she just wants to because she got Nugget there. She knows Nugget's not gonna move. So
Right.
now she wants to be with me because Nugget's right there stuck." And then Nugget leaves, and then my daughter leaves all of a
Yo,
sudden.
she's
Yo, she's
mad
hardcore,
calculated.
dude.
She's mad calculated. That's I'm telling you, like, I just think about it in the business world sense. Like somebody that's like that, like she could be a dope salesperson. Like there's so many things she could be really good at because she knows how to read situations and try to leverage opportunity for herself.
No,
Which could be
she's a
which could be good or bad down the road, but
no.
like
I
it's a
see
dope
good.
trait.
There's good traits in that, useful traits
Yeah.
in the real world. I just don't want it to turn into you know a nasty personality
Yeah.
for her. And we've noticed like very minor things, but then like my wife caught her kind of bullying a kid in gymnastics, as a smaller kid.
Mm.
And it was an accident that my wife saw her. My wife was going to the bathroom and went into the gymnastics room and just was witnessing it. My daughter didn't see her. She was like pushing this little girl. And the little girl's like stopping, and my daughter kept doing it. And I'm like, oh no, 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 no. And then when she gets caught, what does she do? She cries and runs and doesn't want to do anything anymore.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to go into the class.
Yeah.
And so I'm worried. I don't want her to be that kid, that bully. That and then my wife today tells me because I'm like, who is this kid and what does she think? She thinks she has all the privileges in the world that she's just deserving of everything. And my wife was like, well, you're the one that's been calling her princess and she was born. And I was like, oh god.
So it's your fault.
And it's funny because when you ask my daughter, what do you want to be when you grow up? She's like a veterinarian, something else, and a princess.
The princess. Well, on that note, I gotta go get my princess. That's dope though. I mean, it's just this is all like part of shit, part of life. Like at the end of the day, like I still really believe this. The foundation that you set at home ultimately will triumph if other, more
It's
major
got to be
factors get in the way.
consistent.
That's it.
I believe that. It just got to be
That's it.
consistent with the messaging.
Yeah. And bullying, sometimes also gets put under a microscope. Like, I mean, granted, like you don't want your kid pushing other kids around. Like that's not cool. But, it's probably like once in a blue that something like that happens, or maybe very, very infrequent. Like sometimes that happens with kids.
No, I
Once
get
you
it.
when you catch it and you acknowledge it and you kind of talk through it, like sometimes that makes a difference. So, just gotta
And it
roll with
might
the
be that
punches.
she's being bullied in school, and then now it's the
Letting it
transgression that
out.
she's giving it out to somebody else who's smaller than her in gymnastics.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Well, yo, thanks for sharing, bro. Like I think that was
I think
very
we
enlightening.
overshared today.
Yeah, I think we just went overboard a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's cool.
Everybody found out you got finger pops.
And then you got a camera in your ass. That's great. And the camera was snatching shit from inside you. That's awesome.
All
All
right.
right. Well, stay tuned for next week and see what else we conjure up here.
All right, dog.
Peace.
Pizza.